What's going on, everyone? You're listening to Bull Central here. Hope you're all doing well. Guys, before I get into the video, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to all of my new subscribers. Really appreciate all you joining and supporting the channel. If you are new to the channel and you're a Bulls fan or just an NBA fan, feel free to subscribe if you do like the content. Also, I am planning on doing another giveaway for my subscribers, so stay tuned for that. In my last giveaway, one subscriber was actually able to win a $50 gift card to the NBAstore.com. So if you want to be included in the drawing for future giveaways, all you have to do is subscribe and you'll be automatically enrolled. Okay, so let's get into today's video. So as we wait for the regular season to begin, which starts on Tuesday for various teams across the league, and then for the Bulls it'll start on Wednesday, where they'll be hosting the Atlanta Hawks. But since that's a few days away, I thought I would talk about something a little bit different in today's video. And I have done this kind of thing before, where I talk about some Bulls history and my take on some Bulls past players. And so today we're going to be talking about one of the greatest players in Bulls history, and that is Scottie Pippen, and why I believe he is absolutely a top 20 player of all time in NBA history. Now, this idea really has built up over the years for me, as I hear a lot of people giving their thoughts and opinions on Scottie Pippen, and it really was brought up more frequently after the Last Dance documentary was released last April. Now, the popular opinion is that Scottie Pippen was obviously a great player, a Hall of Famer, an All-Star, all of that stuff, but most people feel that he is not a top 20 player of all time, or even top 25. Some would even argue that he's not even a top 50 player of all time. And I think this view really stems from the fact that people feel Scottie would be nothing without the greatest player of all time in Michael Jordan. Or not necessarily nothing, but that he wouldn't be recognized as the player he is today had he not been playing alongside MJ most of his career. Scottie Pippen was the Robin, the sidekick, second fiddle. I've heard it all. And yes, he was the number 2 option on the Bulls, well, at least when MJ was a part of the team. I know that he retired for a portion there, but guys, he was more than just a sidekick. Scottie Pippen, I'll say it now, MJ does not win all 6 of those titles without Scottie. He just does not. Scottie was a critical piece for that Bulls team, an all-time defensive player. He was also great on offense as well. People usually just talk about Scottie as kind of this one-dimensional player that was really just a very focused specialist on defense, but the guy averaged 16 points per game over the course of his career, and over 20 points per game at the height of his prime. I think people tend to forget that when MJ first retired for the first time to go play baseball, which was devastating for me as a young kid and a hardcore Bulls fan, but when the season following his retirement, Scottie Pippen led the Bulls to 55 wins and then almost defeated the Knicks in the Eastern Conference semifinals when they, then lost the series in 7 games. The Knicks then went on to go to the finals, and then they lost to the Rockets, where Hakeem Olajuwon won his first championship. But, Scottie was a 7-time All-Star, a 7-time All-NBA player, a 10-time All-Defensive Team player, and of course, a 6-time champion. And I think that last achievement is why I think there just isn't any way you cannot put Scottie Pippen in your top 20 players of all time. When you have 6 rings to your name, and you're not just a role player in winning said rings, you are a top 20 player of all time, even if you played with Michael Jordan. So when friends and family, of mine, or other fans even for that matter, bring this up to me about how Scottie was merely a sidekick and should not be considered a top 20 or 25 player of all time, my question always is, okay, name 20 players that were better than Scottie Pippen in NBA history. I'll hear names like Karl Malone, Charles Barkley, John Stockton even, or even more recently, Giannis. Like, guys, no disrespect to those players, and Giannis could potentially get there one day. I don't doubt that he would, but none of these guys have a single title to their name. And I'm not saying rings are the only metric that, should be used when you're ranking an all-time great. There are plenty of other factors, but it is a big component. And I think if you're going to be considered a top 20 player of all time, you have to have at least one championship to your name. I guess I just get bothered by the fact that people are perfectly okay with giving certain duos equal credit for their successes, but Scottie just gets left behind because he obviously, he couldn't be considered on equal footing next to Jordan because he's the greatest player of all time. Like Malone and Stockton, for example. Obviously, most would consider Malone to be, the better player between the two, but, generally speaking, Stockton is considered more than just Malone's sidekick. Same with Shaq and Kobe. I think in, those initial championships in the early 2000s, Shaq was probably the better player between the two, but Kobe was right there with him in terms of his greatness. Or even more recently, LeBron and Dwayne Wade, and then Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. These are duos where there was clearly a better franchise leader, a better player between the two, but we can all agree that Wade and Klay were integral pieces to Steph and LeBron's success. Now, obviously, I'm not saying people are acting like Scottie wasn't a critical piece to the Bulls' success. I just feel that his greatness is discounted simply because Michael Jordan was the greatest player to ever do it. And it's just not a fair assessment of Scottie and his overall impact and importance to Jordan's success as well. I mean, I know I'm going to get heat for this comment I'm about to make, but would Michael Jordan be the greatest of all time if he never had Scottie Pippen on his team? Now, I know, I think MJ would have found a way to win and still cement his legacy as the greatest ever, even if that means getting another star player to play alongside him. But the point is, guys, Scottie Pippen was a huge piece to those 6 titles the Bulls won. Michael Jordan doesn't become Michael Jordan without Scottie Pippen, and vice versa. And when you have 6 rings, you're a multiple all-star, a multiple all-NBA player, and a multi-all defensive team player. You deserve some respect, and you deserve to be a top 20 player of all time. And if you disagree with me, that's completely fine. That's what this channel is all about, as I'm open to hearing different perspectives. But I'll ask it again. Name 20 players of all time who were better than Scottie Pippen. I really am all ears and open for the debate. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, and as always, be sure to subscribe if you're a Bulls fan, and I will catch you guys in the next one.